All right, we are live. Hello and welcome into Short Yardage, presented by For Fantasy's Sake. I'm Michael Sicoli. I'm here with Nick Grohl and the legendary Doug, who I'm blanking on your last name right now, and I'm about to get yelled at for. But special guest in this week. How's it going?
Good, guys. Yes, it's simple. It's the color at the bottom of the screen.
Doug Green. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no,
There we go.
no, we're off to a flying start here on Thursday night, and we might as well be because the NFL is back tonight. We have a preseason game tonight.
Woo!
How does that feel?
We are back.
For our
We are
Steelers.
back.
Oh, seeing Dwayne Haskins throw the
Hall
rock.
of Fame game. This is what we're here for. Hopefully, all the sickos out there are jumping into the preseason DFS streets. That's where we make our real money. At least that's what they tell us. But we're all just throwing darts against a dartboard at this point. So good luck out there.
No, yeah, this is the beginning of the lovely climb for Anthony McFarland right into, oh my goodness, he's going to be a great fit in this scheme because he lights up the Cowboys' third stringers on Thursday Night Football. So that is great, but what is not great, and we might as well get right into it, were the injuries that befelled. I don't even know if I said that right. Hit the Colts this week. Quentin Nelson and Carson Wentz, two of arguably their best players. Or most important players, went down with injuries to their foot/ankle. Both are going to have the exact same surgery, same timeline of about 5 to 12 weeks. How are we feeling about that? That's brutal at this time of year.
Yeah, not great. Not great at all. Fortunately, I think the fantasy community as a whole was not investing heavily in a lot of these pieces, unless you were scooping up the value at every turn. If you're putting a lot of chips in on Frank Reich, Carson Wentz reunion, I understand that. I don't think a lot of people were doing that. So all in all, it went from hopefully they go somewhere and to just a really big avoid on all accounts. We could talk about specific players. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, losing those two. I did the AFC South preview on the site, and yeah, it's never good when you lose kind of your two big pieces there. It's not looking good for the Colts this year. I really thought that maybe with Wentz and Nelson they could maybe contend down there, maybe take a run at Tennessee, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now.
Mm-hmm. That's the interesting thing. It doesn't seem, I guess, like when you bet on Carson Wentz being your Super Bowl window quarterback, if you think you're in a Super Bowl window, it's kind of like you don't want to keep giving up equity to trade for a Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota, something like that. So it seems like they're like, let's just do a soft tank for a year. Maybe we come on strong in this stretch and squeak into the playoffs and make some noise. But yeah, it's going to be a really tough 5 to 12 weeks for that team. Hopefully it's closer to 5 than 12, though.
I don't think we have to write off the Colts yet. I mean, this is if it's 5 to 12 weeks. 5 weeks puts them around week 1, week 2. And let's say tentatively, because we remember the Colts sent a first-round pick to the Eagles. That converts into a second if he plays 75% of their games, 70% as a playoff team. So if he, let's say, what I'm envisioning is they hold him out through week 4, whether he's healthy or not, because they have an awful start to the schedule. They have a really tough playing like the Rams, and they can hold that out, convert that pick to a second. But as for the fantasy impact,
what can you explain that situation specifically, how the comp pick works?
Yeah, so the Colts sent a conditional first-round pick for Carson Wentz to the Eagles. That pick is only a first-round pick if Carson Wentz plays 75% of their games. That it could be 70% of their games if the Colts end up in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So how that ends up working basically is if Carson Wentz misses 4 games, that pick goes to a second-round pick, which is obviously that's a huge difference at that high up in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's there you have it. We're going to see him week 5 at the earliest if he's healthy, because if he comes on strong, they make the playoffs and make a run, and he hits that 70% mark. In their eyes, he's earned that. Otherwise, they're increasing their probability of that pick being a second-round pick. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. So fantasy. So let's say we're without Carson Wentz and his protection for 4 weeks. How big of a discount do you need on these players? Jonathan Taylor, let's start with him. before you pull the trigger.
I mean, he was going in the first round, and I'm excited for Jonathan Taylor. He's still, he has that second year leap written all over him, but he has the variables that we couldn't ignore. We have Nyheim Hines isn't going away. They brought back Marlon Mack, if you want me to speak his name back into existence, who's getting some good reports out of camp as well. I view him as a second round guy. I'll happily take him at the top of the second round, and roll the dice that, we just see that efficiency that we saw from last year, but we have to maintain. Losing Quentin Nelson is bigger to me than losing Carson Wentz for Jonathan Taylor. Whether we're going to get, the old Wentz we saw, that was a question mark, but we were not questioning Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson was going to be an all-pro. He's always been. So you lose him, you lose their left tackle, Anthony Costanzo, who retired early in the offseason. This is not the same offensive line that we saw last year. So I'll take him in the second round because he has that talent. He can do that jump. But I saw another stat actually that he ran. I think it was yards per before contact. Jonathan Taylor was getting touched 2.2 yards into his run away from Quinn Nelson. He was getting touched 6 yards into his run with Quinn Nelson. It's a colossal loss.
Yeah. So Doug, he's sitting there in the middle of the second round. Are you taking Jonathan Taylor there without Quentin Nelson and without Wentz?
Probably not. I'm probably looking for at least a round discount on him.
Yeah.
I'm probably waiting at least another round before I pull that trigger.
Yeah. I mean, his touchdown efficiency is going to go down. They're not going to be in the red zone as much. I will say he is slated for more pass catching work than I think people give him credit for. He's not exactly like Nick Chubb in that regard. He gets about 30 targets or so. But Nyheim Hines is the pass catching back. The answer is always wide receiver in the early rounds. So I'm out.
So I guess let's direct it to wide receivers. Michael Pittman, people taking a really late flyer on T.Y. Hilton. Are we totally taking them off the board? Are we holding out a little bit of hope? And for the quarterback situation, since we don't need to touch on it for fantasy, I think we're all expecting some ugly combination of Jacob Eason, who are kind of liked out of college, but reports are not promising. Brett Hundley, who we've seen enough of Brett Hundley for a lifetime, and Sam Ellinger, who was a 6th-round pick, and I'm not really too enthused about either.
I don't know that. I mean, these are kind of mid to late round guys anyway. So the effect on those types of guys is going to be maybe around. You're not going to see a huge fluctuation, I think. And none of these guys pop. I have been listening to a lot of the Matt Harmon reception perception pods, which is really cool stuff. Go sub to that site. Super interesting. And the big thing about that is it tries to isolate the wide receiver from its quarterback. So the quarterback might be bad and missing the target or not seeing the open receiver. Like he kind of isolates that by just watching the receiver and if they get open or not. And none of these guys really pop in the quarterback isolated model. Michael Pittman is kind of above the threshold that you like to see, like 70% against like man coverage or whatever that the truly elite wide receivers hit, but he's like right there at 70%. So if he were a player kind of like someone like an Odell Beckham, like in his prime, was in the 99th percentile, and you could kind of spot his breakout coming because he's just always open. If he was that type of player, I think you can put me back there, and I'm still drafting him, just betting on that type of upside. But yeah, not exciting. Still an avoid for me. But I say that, and then like you'll see in like one of those big best ball tournaments, like a Sam Eason, Michael Pittman stack, or Jacob Eason turns into the next Tom Brady, and he's got a Michael Pittman stack, and they win it all. So I think that's like a 0.001% outcome now.
Yeah, all in all, I think we're expecting a very slow start for the Colts, which does set up for a nice little buy low opportunity for Jonathan Taylor around week 2, week 3. If you want to go down that route, which if you start 0 RB, that might be a nice way to go. Although
Nyheim Hines is always a buy.
Yes, Nyheim Hines is always a buy. Yeah, that is exactly how I would feel about Carson Wentz as well. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Honestly, I think Nyheim Hines was like the number 2 graded receiver, not out of running backs, out of receivers by PFF. But people can take PFF for whatever it's worth. Everyone believes
Yeah.
their own thing about
I
it.
think it's a little noisy, but it's a cool idea.
It's definitely there to generate signs. So I was talking to you about this before the show. Do you want to talk about that little dynasty thing we were talking about?
Yeah. Let's
Or do
hear
you
it.
want
This is
to-
a spicy one, folks. Let's spend about 2 minutes on it, and we'll talk about this mock.
Yeah, we'll make this real quick, and then we'll get into a mock draft, which is going to be a ton of fun. Definitely encourage you guys to hop on for that. So I'm talking with someone in my league as a contender. I would be sending DJ Moore, my 2022 first, and Chase Edmonds, half PPR, not Superflex, for CeeDee Lamb, Elijah Mitchell, and a 2023 second.
Yeah, we were back and forth on this. I'll kind of take you through my progression here. When you first said it, is initially I was like, wow, you're giving up a lot for CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if the gap between DJ Moore and CeeDee Lamb is quite Chase Edmonds plus a first. But then I kind of came around on it in that CeeDee Lamb is younger. He kind of did everything that you want a prospect of his caliber to do in a rookie season, especially with a pretty electric quarterback that in a high-paced offense, he runs a lot of his routes out of the slot. He gets a lot of those low A-dot catches, and he's great after the catch. Seems like they're going to move him around, and he's going to be kind of the queen in the chess set, where they're going to kind of try to get him those favorable matchups because he seems to be their most explosive player. And I mean, you want to talk about camp hype. CeeDee Lamb, they just can't get enough of him there in Dallas. So at the end of the day, I think it's pretty clear that CeeDee Lamb is the best dynasty prospect. And in my opinion, if you have the best player in the trade, doesn't matter how many pieces you're moving around to a certain degree. Whoever has the best player wins the trade, and it's pretty clear you win that one. Two nickels do not equal a dime in dynasty trades.
No, and I definitely try to go after the best player available, just like you said. And it weighs on me that CeeDee Lamb's, we're talking about a big breakout this year, but he's got a long career ahead of him, just like DJ Moore. But Michael Gallup Dak is there for the long term. Amari Cooper is there for a few more years. Michael Gallup walks next year. This is still going to be a pretty pass-heavy offense. CeeDee Lamb's a great talent. I just don't get an opportunity to get CeeDee Lamb too often, if ever. Especially with the hype we're getting for him right now. And that window is going to close because we got two players here who are bust proof. It's just a matter of who has the higher ceiling. And if I think CeeDee Lamb can hit that ceiling, because DJ Moore's hamstrung by Carolina. He's a great player. He's still a great player for Dynasty, but as a contender, I think it would be really nice to have him on my lineup. But that's all we need to touch on for that, honestly.
Yeah. Go for it, dude. Pull the trigger.
No, we get to the meat of this. We're going to have our first short yardage mock draft here. We have, I believe, 6 people tuning in. The 3 of us, as well as 3. Oh no, we have more. Awesome.
Oh yeah, that's my boy Fitzy. He's a sharp. Watch out.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we got Raleigh Millette over there, who's a good friend of mine, who's a good supporter of everything we do over here. So really excited for this. It's a pretty standard setup. We got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, only 1 flex, kicker in the defense, half PPR. I believe we settled on 6 bench spots. Yes, sir. We ready to get into this?
I don't want to give away my strategy, but because we are trying to make this as close to a real draft as possible. But I am going to be using the tools. One of the tools is the redraft Sims spreadsheets that are going to be in the redraft guide that's coming out soon. A lot of hard work went into that from our very own Doug Green. So I'm going to be using it live, just as it was intended. So we'll see what we end up with.
And yep, okay, let's get into it. And Doug's going to start us off anyway. Team 1 going to start off with Christian McCaffrey. No surprise there.
No, none. And I will take Mr. Dalvin Cook as soon as I figure out how to actually draft him. On here.
Green button on the left.
Yeah, there's the little plus sign.
Got it. Okay.
There we go.
Awesome.
And we're off.
Team 3 going to take Nick Chubb. We got on the wagons, on the clock, although I'm not sure if he's in the room. A little bit surprising Nick Chubb up there. That's the CPU for you, but Nick Chubb going in the top 5, that's something. I mean, especially in a half PPR league, that's, I love Nick Chubb, but I'm not seeing top 3 upside out of him.
Yeah, I think the old auto draft algorithm there is giving some kind of hit his upside ADP on a half PPR. I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, you get some people that really like to establish it. Some run the damn ball people. You'll see Nick Chubb at 3 in some of these half PPR 12-team drafts for sure.
Yeah, and we argued about this last week. Me talking about Nick Chubb being a tier 2 type of player, and then you immediately corrected me calling him a tier 3. So
yeah,
I will stay there. I'm just happy that I'm going to be able to choose either Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara, hoping it's Alvin Kamara, and it's not Alvin Kamara. So that's all right. I'm sitting here at the 105. I'm not looking at receiver like you might. I'm not looking at Travis Kelce. I'm looking between Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and that's about it. With the Quinn Nelson and Carson Wentz thing, I'm not looking at Jonathan Taylor. I'm just going to cut to it. I'm going to take Derrick Henry. Some safe volume there.
Take the big dog.
Yeah. I mean, there's very few players with as much assured volume as Derrick Henry in a very productive Tennessee offense.
Oh man, this is a tough spot for my good friend here. Oh, snap picks.
Interesting. The first receiver off the board. We had Saquon go after Henry, Devontae Adams after that, Aaron Jones after that, Elliott after that, Riley Millet.
Elliott at 9 is a good pick.
It is good, and I think that's about where he should go. And Travis Kelce going at 110, first tight end right there. Tyreek.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll say here's sharp first round. The ones that here at this spot, if you're going to see a Barkley or Elliott or Jones kind of slip, I think they rightly should go in the top 10. And then what you see is maybe a Kelce. The Sims are a huge fan of Travis Kelce, and he does end up there at the 12 spot from time to time. But given what's sitting here at the turn, I'm going to trigger a lot of people with this. But I'm going to go Stephon Diggs, who is my number 2 wide receiver overall behind Tyreek Hill. And I'm going to actually follow that up with a surprise. And the Sims say to go DeAndre Hopkins, but I'm going to bet on some younger upside here with DK Metcalf.
Oh, see? Well, I told you. The 201 would annoy me. I like that Diggs pick. I don't even mind you going double receiver there. But man, passing DeAndre Hopkins and that volume for DK Metcalf, who I view as a very streaky guy. But and we already start to see Jonathan Taylor slip into the second round there. Yeah, that's man, you're gonna like that start. You got the volume and self-assured week to week of Stephon Diggs and the explosiveness of Metcalf that can win you a week. That's not a bad start right there.
The Sims love DK Metcalf.
No, I'm willing to. I need to see another year. That second half slump is a little bit of a concern for me. We have Austin Eckler going off the board, DeAndre Hopkins going at 204 after that. AJ Brown, that's an interesting pick. I don't hate it. I like him. Joe Mixon, then Antonio Gibson. Now I'm sitting here, and I think, oh man, this is a tough one. I'll walk you guys through what I'm thinking. I'm sitting here with Derrick Henry already taken, and Najee Harris and Calvin Ridley are staring me in the face. Now, starting off with 2 workhorse running backs like Derrick Henry and Najee Harris are incredibly tempting. Mm-hmm. And when I look at the receivers still there, I do see a teardrop coming. Oh man, that is a tough one. I also have George Kittle staring me in the face as well, but man, yeah, I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley. I see someone with wide receiver 1 upside there. That's someone I don't think I can pass on.
What do you got here for us, Doug?
All right, so Najee Harris, who was the guy I was kind of thinking about there, he went off the board right after Michael, and then somebody cracked the seal on quarterbacks and took Mahomes. So I was thinking I would go running back here, but I think now I'm probably going to go wide receiver, and I'm probably going to go Justin Jefferson. When you're working the corners like Nick is at the 12 spot, and even the 1, 2, and the 11s and 12s, I always try and think of things in pairs. So, because a lot of times they're coming right back to you like this is. So I took Justin Jefferson. The system took Waller and DeAndre Swift there at the 2-3 swing, and now it's right back to me again. I think at this point, and this is going to be a homer pick, and I'm going to hear about it, but I know he's not going to make it back to me. So I'm going to take my guy, Allen Robinson, here. I know I'm reaching for him, but he's the kind of guy that I'm looking for usually here in this scenario.
Yeah, no, I like that start. I'm gonna walk through my pick, and I've got a question to ask you, Doug, about your selection. But I'm sitting here with Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle, and Keenan Allen went after Allen Robinson. I'm looking at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, Terry McLaurin, Dave Montgomery, and I gotta say that the running backs are gonna plummet after this pick. CeeDee Lamb is looking me in the face, and he's asking me to draft him, as is Terry. But I think I'm just going to stick to my guns and look at CH for Dobbins. I've always been a Dobbins guy. I saw Darrell Williams is getting about 40% of the first team work. I'm taking J.K. Dobbins. But real quick, I wanted to ask you, Doug, any hesitation about stacking Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson there?
Not really, no. I think that Minnesota is going to have enough volume there. Their defense is good enough to keep them close enough that Cook always gets plenty of volume, and then when they do fall behind, Jefferson's kind of got the ability to pick up all of those targets when they're behind. So I feel good about they kind of offset each other. You're going to get a little yin and yang there, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I like that. Alphas are going to eat. Alphas are going to get there, so I like that. So after my pick of Dobbins, Dave Montgomery went off the board. Josh Allen, another quarterback, taken there. Second one there. Terry McLaurin, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, taken right before Riley, who I know would have loved to get Clyde there.
Yeah, I want to say, Mike, your pick of Calvin Ridley there at 2.8. It's pretty close for him between him and Metcalf for me at my pick at the turn there. So Ridley's going to smash, and I don't know why people aren't onto that a little bit more. Thank you to Team 11 taking Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs, so we don't have to. That's going to be great content. All right, we're sitting here at the turn. CeeDee Lamb is here, so that's a pretty easy one for me. We're kind of penalizing him in the projections, the expert projections, and in my model for a bad for him back half of the year with Andy Dalton, but he still got there. I mean, he was still a top 20 wide receiver as a rookie. Pops in all the prospect models. That's what you want to see. All right, so here we are at pick number, what is this?
401.
401, okay. So what we're looking at is, I know a lot of people are probably screaming at me to take a running back, and I actually will not. I'm going to take Julio Jones here and get a veteran in my locker room here.
Veteran, add some age to that very young core right there.
Yeah. So so before it gets to you here, I do kind of keep in mind a little bit of. I try to diversify the types of receivers I'm getting, kind of like an investment portfolio, so that the idea is that they're kind of smashing on different weeks, so that they kind of complement each other. Stephon Diggs is kind of checks all boxes. He's still young, still very much entering his prime, get a second-year quarterback. He's the still ascending elite. DK Metcalf, again, he's young enough that we might not have seen his prime yet or his best season. They might diversify his route tree a little bit, which could get him open, and he's just smashed. He's gotten better every single year he's been on a football field. CeeDee Lamb, again, young ascension. You could see him in the second round or even the first round next year. I think that's in his range of outcomes. And then here's where Julio Jones, I'm kind of expecting him to really be my flex for sure in the front half of the year. And then I think Father Time will come knocking and you'll see his production kind of drop. But hopefully I can buoy that with some late young receivers. So there is a method to this wide receiver onslaught madness. Fantasy
football is all about mixing the floor with the upside right there. So I definitely see what you're doing there. I like it a lot. Michael Thomas went off the board after Julio Jones, followed by Amari Cooper and Chris Godwin. I do like Amari Cooper there. I think we're already forgetting what Amari Cooper was with Dak Prescott there. I mean, he was the wide receiver one for a good stretch there. But Chris Godwin went after that, then Kyler Murray, Chris Carson, and Miles Sanders. Was not looking at any of those. This pick is pretty easy for me. I'll quickly run through who's on the board, but it's Darrell Henderson, Lamar Jackson, Robert Woods, DJ Moore, Myles Gaskins, Travis Etienne, Mark Andrews being the top tight end available according to ADP, and I'm not going to take him. I'm going to take Robert Woods, who's been a wide receiver 1, and I cannot believe that we are continuing to disrespect Robert Woods at this point in his career.
This is the screaming pick for the Sims as well. So
yeah, it makes zero sense to me. And as much as I'd love to take a Travis Etienne and sit on that breakout or see what a 3-down Rams running back might look like, Robert Woods is a week-to-week play, and there's no point in passing on value there.
No, Bobby Trees is definitely a solid pick at that point.
Bobby Trees. I like that.
That's what we always call him on the show. All right, seems to be back to me. So looking here at the draft board, Lamar Jackson's the guy at the top of the list. Probably not taking a quarterback at this point. I'm going to wait for that for a little while. DJ Moore, Myles Gaskin, not guys I'm really kind of interested in. Travis Etienne has been getting a lot of run in this preseason. So I think he's somebody I'm going to try and gamble on, just because they seem to be playing him. They're throwing him a lot of passes, and I want to see what that's going to look like with him there. The AI takes Galladay and DJ Moore at the turn, so it comes right back to me. As I look this over, because my choices still haven't changed too much here, Kyle Pitts is sitting here. And normally I would not take a tight end this early, but this is one of those things where I'm like, maybe I do. Maybe I pull the trigger on a Kyle Pitts here in the 5th just to see, roll the dice and see kind of what we've got here. Looking at kind of some of the rest of the guys that are right here at the top, I do feel good about that. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice with Kyle Pitts at this point.
Interesting. All right. I don't hate that by any stretch. Kyle Pitts, my only question, we are drafting him to have the best rookie season of any tight end in recent memory. And the funny thing is, I think it's well within his range of outcomes. But I'm here on the clock. I'm very disappointed that Chase Claypool just got sniped before me. Not that he would have been my pick, but man, I do like Chase Claypool, as I wrote up on my AFC North breakdown. But Lamar Jackson is looking at me. I really want to take Lamar, but I'm still passing on quarterback, even in the 5th round, which is a good value for Lamar. I'd be strongly considering Cooper Kupp if I didn't take Robert Woods. I like other names, so I don't want to double up there. I like TJ Hawkinson, but I'm still on the bypass mid-tight end range right now. For me, I'm looking at Tyler Lockett, and I'm looking at Deontay Johnson, who I view Deontay Johnson as a very strong PPR play. Even in half PPR, he should get his. But I have volume, man. I have volume. I'm taking Tyler Lockett. Oh, what a tilt. But yeah, that is a tilt and a half. But looking at my roster, I was reminded of what you just said, Nick, where I have Derrick Henry, I have Calvin Ridley, I have J.K. Dobbins, I have Robert Woods. Every single one of those names, I feel very confident in their volume. Some might not be about J.K. Dobbins, but I'm pretty confident. Tyler Lockett has some explosive upside, and playing him as my wide receiver 3, I can, with that type of depth, I can maintain. I can live without that. With the I can live with the lows as long as I get the highs, and I'm pretty confident I'll get the highs. So after my pick, TJ Hawkinson goes off the board, Mark Andrews off the board, Brandon Ayuk, the first of the 49ers wideouts. Lamar Jackson finally going off the board at 5'9". Really like that pick right there. Oh man, that I'm still recovering from that tilt right there. Jeez. Oh man. Okay, so Riley Millett on the clock right now. He's got Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler, Mike Evans, and Mark Cooper. 2 wide receivers, 1 running back. So you got to imagine he's not looking at Dak when he took Travis Kelce that early, and he takes Cooper Kupp, Justin Herbert off the board. Nick is on the clock.
So yeah, right here. I mean, this is called taking what the board gives you. Dak Prescott doesn't make it to the back end of the 5th round very often, and I already have CeeDee Lamb, so I'm going to stack just to get that correlation because we don't want to finish 5th. We either want to finish last or first. That's the type of attitude that you want to draft with. And then This one, I'm going a little bit more feel than relying on the Sims here. I'm going to pair that vet Julio Jones with another receiver with a rookie, Jamar Chase. And yeah, so just kind of take Jamar Chase to kind of learn the ropes and carry me in the back half of the season. And then Julio Jones and his old knees, hopefully he can come out of the gates hot, and they'll complement each other really well. We got to tell a story with our draft, folks. Tell a story.
Paint a thread. Yeah, I'm telling a story that I'm sweating over taking Tyler Lockett. I'm just going to be thinking about that for the rest of the night. But Deontay Johnson off the board after that. Gotta imagine Ron Millett's strongly considering Chase Edmonds, maybe some upside Javonte, and he's off the board with Javonte. Saw that coming. Adam Thielen after that, taking a third wide receiver right there. Man, Javonte Williams in the Broncos backfield is really something to break down. I'm not sure what to do with that.
I don't think it's what everyone wants it to be. Everyone wants the shiny new toy and the rookie to come out and be the league winner, but Melvin Gordon's got a contract that they can't get rid of. They can't trade it. They can't cut it. So
But what they can do is run it to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the upside case for Williams is that they run Melvin Gordon to the ground. He gets hurt, and then we're off to the races. Which I don't think is I think the likelihood of that outcome is probably better than a coin flip. Yeah.
No, and so after Javonte there, I think Javonte will take over at some point in the year, but it's how long you want to wait on it. But Adam Thielen going off after that, T. Higgins, Odell, who I couldn't imagine drafting the 6th, no offense.
Oh my gosh, that's a great pick. Don't let him get you down.
Stop it. Russell Wilson after that. And my pick is made, so I can talk all day if I wanted to, but I am a very big fan of Chase Edmonds this year. I think Chase Edmonds is going to catch a lot of balls. He's going to see an increase in carries. And I think he's just got some juice that James Conner doesn't have. James Conner is no lock for health either. As my RB3, Chase Edmonds, easy pick. 6'8", man. I feel like I never get him around 6'8", but I'm happy with that selection. Melvin Gordon go off the board after that. DJ Chark after that, and Doug, you're on the clock.
Yeah, so my choices here, looking at Mike Davis, because I did take Travis Etienne, who's kind of that hybrid kind of guy. Mike Davis, somebody has to carry the ball down in Atlanta. I don't think James Robinson's as dead as what everybody thinks that he is, but I already have Etienne, so I don't want to kind of double up there and kind of lock myself into those two places. I think at this point, though, I think the guy that I'm going to take is Cortland Sutton. I think I'm going to grab him right here at this pick, and then see if I can get Mike Davis to come back to me here real quick. And you win, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and take Davis here. Again, usually on those turns, a lot of times once I've kind of established most of my main guys, most of the guys that I would call my starting lineup, quote unquote, I'll take them in pairs. So I'll usually go wide receiver with one pick and running back with the next, or vice versa, just to kind of swap them back and forth. Just so I'm making sure that I'm balanced. I don't get too big of a wide receiver run in there. I try to make sure I have balanced picks there.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that. I don't think anyone needs to be concerned about doubling up on Atlanta. That should be a pretty high-powered offense. So I'm here on the clock. I have 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, still don't have a tight end, still don't have a quarterback. Now, I would be considering quarterback here. I know there are some names I'm looking at, but I am also looking at the board, and every single team, with the exception of Riley, has taken a quarterback ahead of me. So I have pretty good faith that a quarterback will come back around to me. So I'm not going to reach for one here. I'm going to look at the wide receivers available because that's where the value is right now. And I'm not as high on James Robinson and Ronald Jones. So I'm looking at Robbie Anderson as Robbie Anderson is one of the biggest values in drafts right now, in my opinion. He's being used short yardage, being used downfield. Sam Darnold likes him. His own coach from college is his coach in the NFL. I'm taking Robbie Anderson. Deebo Samuel is a good value pick there by our lovely CPU team, who just took Deebo Samuel as the wide receiver 1 in round 7. But after Deebo Samuel, Devonta Smith going off the board, which is interesting because I would have considered Devonta Smith there. I'm a little bit worried about that MCL injury he suffered in practice about I don't know if that was earlier this week or last week, but MCL injury, probably miss a couple weeks of August. Not necessarily at risk for week 1 yet. But Ronald Jones going off the board after that as the RB2 right there. Really like that roster of Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Kyler Murray, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, and Ronald Jones. That's a pretty meaty lineup.
That's a fire draft from A. Romo.
Yeah, pretty happy with that, with a great Elon Musk profile pick as well. Just be proud of yourself for that, buddy. But T. Fitzy on the clock right now. Man, a lot of options he could go for here. Only 2 running backs could be looking there, but only 3 wide receivers. Gotta imagine this could go in any direction here. It's tough to decide, but give a little ADP check. We got James Robinson, Dallas Goedert, Noah Fant, Aaron Rodgers, Damian Harris, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, and Brandon Cooks is the pick. Interesting. That's an interesting pick right there.
If you're going to take a Texan, that's the one to take. He's going to be the guy, no matter who the quarterback is. They're going to be behind enough that I feel like he's going to get enough volume that he's going to be the guy that you want off that squad.
All right, so Dallas Goedert goes there. So just a quick idea, if you notice, I have not taken a running back yet. And so this is a true 0 RB draft. The benefit of a 0 RB draft is you do get the elite value that falls. So I'm going to bet that Dak Prescott's going to be healthy. So another thing I'm thinking here is I need to take a look at the other onesie position, tight end, and see if there's a tier break. And I do have Noah Fant. Here as kind of a clear tier above Logan Thomas, Mike Gesicki. So I feel good about getting the last of that, like 4th tight end tier. So I'm going to take him and just hope for the best there with Teddy Bridgewater just feeding him. And then we're out of the quote unquote dead zone. So these are bets that where the opportunity cost is I'm betting on the public being wrong. And I'm also betting on a situation where I benefit from chaos, like an injury or really anything where someone goes down in a backfield and doesn't get the playing time we expect them to. So a couple of situations, the James Robinson one, that is chaotic. I don't quite have the stones for that one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet on a rookie that's getting a lot of hype, and he profiles as a good 0 RB candidate as someone who catches passes, as that Michael Carter. What have you been hearing out of camp about Michael Carter, Mike?
Promising things. He's running with the first team. I'm going to a little tuner here. I'm going to Jets training camp on Saturday. Can't wait for that. I'll let everyone know on my constantly tweeting Twitter account. But Michael Carter's been running with the ones. I think he's going to be the 1B, 1A of that Tevin Coleman-led backfield. And I don't think there's one running back that Salah and young Matt LaFleur is going to employ, or I think he's the OC, but he'll definitely be a part of it. I definitely would be surprised if he wasn't. But the way that board fell for you, I really like that. You know, where maybe if Damian Harris wasn't there, if Michael Carter wasn't there, but Carter's always going to be there in the 8th. That's a pretty reassuring pick there.
Yeah, the big thing for me is so Damian Harris and James Robinson, they're both in committee backfields right now.
Yeah.
But they're not the pass catching guy. Another real exciting rookie there is Trey Sermon that just went off the board. Again, should be in a high powered offense. Romo's he's working the room right now. He's telling us.
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's hurting me.
But so to me, it was between Sermon and Carter, and the tiebreaker for me is they're both in run-first offenses that should be sharing the workload, but Carter's the guy who's going to catch the passes, and that's pretty clear. So I'm going to bet on that upside.
Yeah, and so after the Michael Carter pick, James Robinson, Damian Harris, Jarvis Landry, Trey Sermon by A. Romo, who's killing this draft and hurting me deeply. Tyler Boyd, who I talked about in my article as a good value, who I like here as a very steady flex play. So I do like that pick. And the gamble of Will Fuller after that. I'm on the clock, and my gamble for quarterback panned out as I thought, where the teams took their quarterbacks. Riley held out for another 2 rounds. So I'm not going to wait here with the teams ahead of me that need a quarterback. I'm not taking Aaron Rodgers, who's the top one ranked. I'm taking Tom Brady, who should be throwing the rock left, right, and center. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty. I don't think I need to talk too much about Tom Brady being a great player.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, no, I tried to. I tried to not hear of him, but I unfortunately am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so he made himself ingrained as my memory as much as Ben Roethlisberger ever was. But after that, might have an auto draft coming up here, but we'll see.
Well, while we're waiting for the pick to come in, Fitzy and I must have very similar thought processes because that looks very much like a roster that I would normally draft over there. In fact, I was eyeing Landry with this pick. Surprised that somebody jumped that early. So little hot under the collar for that selection.
Yeah, I invited some true sickos to this draft. I apologize for that.
I mentioned Landry as a value in my AFC North breakdown as well. I mean, I think he's a pretty safe, plug in the case of bye weeks type of thing, which is what I don't mind getting in the 8th round. And OBJ's no lock for health.
All right, so it's back to me. I am in need of a quarterback. As Michael mentioned, Aaron Rodgers is sitting there at the top of the board. And now that his situation has been resolved, I have no qualms at all about pulling the trigger here. So I will take the nemesis from the north on the squad. Comes right back to me after 2 picks of Hurts and Fournette. And I think at this point, let's take a look and see who's out there. I've got Zach Moss at the top of the board. That's somebody who might be interesting. Kenyon Drake, Logan Thomas. There's a whole bunch of yuck here at this point. Can I trade back? That'd be
good luck finding someone.
I know, right? Oh God. 30 seconds. Need to find somebody. If I wouldn't take him, blah blah blah. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna pull the trigger on Robert Tonyan. Stack him with Rodgers, and then hope that we get the touchdown upside there when I need it.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that because Nick got on the nose. The tight ends are gruesome for me right now. I am not too enthralled with Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee, the Patriots duo, and the corpse of Rob Gronkowski. So I'm looking here. I see Matt Stafford available, which makes me a little bit sad that I took Tom Brady, but I don't regret that pick. So I'm looking here. I was really worried you were gonna make this pick, Doug, but I'm gonna lock in my guy, who I am so excited for this year, and I'll take it to the grave. I have the receipts for it. I'm taking Mike Williams, who I view as a very high upside player with Justin Herbert entering the 2nd year. And Tony Brown going after that, who is also a really good value pick here, I think. But after that, we are waiting on that pick where Kenny Drake going off the board, which is interesting. Kenny Drake, I can't ever bring myself. Oh, come on. I'm trying to break down Kenyon Drake, and then Elijah Moore goes off the board, and it's literally a stab to my gut.
Triggered. And he's in the chat too. He's in the chat.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, he's in the Periscope chat.
Okay.
I think he's watching the stream.
Man, I'm glad you're tuning in, man. But we are either best friends or worst enemies. Yeah. No, I don't know if we have problems or if we're just or if we're actually like really good friends who think alike. I don't know if it's one or the other. But after I got to put that aside. Kenyon Drake, Elijah Moore, Devin Singletary, Jalen Waddle, Joe Burrow off the board, and Nick, you are on the clock.
Yeah, so again, kind of looking at this like an investment portfolio. I got my 5 wide receivers I feel good about, who honestly I think all of them could make a case to be a top 12 wide receiver. Obviously, as you go down the list, the range of outcomes kind of gets narrower and narrower, but feel really good about getting Dak Prescott at the end of a elite quarterback tier. Noah Fant at the end of a kind of your not quite elite, but could break through to be that elite asset tier. And then a young rookie, Michael Carter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hammer a veteran, James Conner, and just hope for the best there. He's going to get plenty of carries near the goal line on a high-paced offense. And then I'm going to follow that up with A.J. Dillon, which, God forbid anything happens to Aaron Jones. that's how you build like a super team. I'm going to benefit from any sort of chaos in the Arizona backfield or Green Bay backfield, where it's the type of thing where you're spending all your fab on one of these players if they're on the wire. But I'll have them.
Yeah, no, you take the values where they come, and Michael Carter, James Conner. Nobody wants James Conner, but I think James Conner is going to have sneaky value this year, even as the Edmonds truther. But after Dylan, Michael Gallup off the board, Matt Stafford, a great pick there, who I take 10 times out of 10 over Joe Burrow. Tony Pollard. After
Can we talk about that? That's a misstep. I'm sorry,
please.
Fitz. He's probably going to listen to this on Spotify or not at all. So I guess I'm not sorry if you don't listen to it. But Ezekiel Elliott and then Tony Pollard, it's like putting $50 on black and then turning around and putting $50 on red. It's just a bet against yourself. You're limiting your upside. However, I mean, if Zeke does go down, I'm going to look like an idiot if we were to play this out for real. But you can't bet on that. You got it. It's not a 1-2 punch backfield. It's a handcuff. And
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because when you're taking a handcuff, especially in the 10th round, you are wasting a pick because it's someone who can't do anything unless you lose something else, and you can't predict injury. And if you can't predict injury, spending a 10th is an expensive place when you could spend that bet elsewhere. But I'm on the clock here. I have 15 seconds because I talk too much. Corey Davis looking at me real quick. Nyheim Hines, as we talked about, being a great value. Gus Edwards, who has standalone value with my J.K. Dobbins, but instead I'm going to take Nyheim Hines, who I think we all agree on the value, with the exception of Doug, who apparently likes to slander him.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, understandable. But man, I know I'm gonna have to draft one of these tight ends at some point, and
Nyheim Hines is a 0 RB. Like I was expecting him to be there, so I take that as a personal affront.
Yeah,
and you have disrespected my honor. But,
no, please take all the offense you want. I'm
going back to drafting wide receivers to punish you. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
Okay, well, Elijah Moore's off the board. I've already been stabbed in the heart, so there's not much else that you can do to me that A. Romo hasn't done already. So, waiting for this pick right here. Looking like I'm going to say this is going to be auto draft to be Ryan Tannehill, who honestly would also be the best pick available in my opinion.
Oh yeah, huge. Let's look at the
CPU. Do him a favor. CPU does him a favor. All right.
Yeah. So
Gus
Ryan
Edwards
Tannehill,
after that.
After that, Ryan Tannehill. There's a pretty big tier drop off. But what do we got here, Doug?
All right, so I have been sniped too many times. My boy Darnell Mooney is here. I'm not letting him slide. I'm going to go ahead and take him right here.
Oh, man, just absolutely taking a daddy hack in the 10th round with Darnell Mooney. I love it. I love it.
Yep. Then Gronk and Corey Davis go there at the turn. And while we were talking about, I think I can still wait on a couple of my aces in the holes here. So we won't talk about those two guys that I've got in my queue just yet.
All right.
So normally,
what's that strategy?
If I haven't taken two tight ends already, normally I'd be all over Irv Smith, who looks like he's going to be a good piece of that Vikings offense. Plus, I've already got two Vikings on my roster, so I really kind of want to avoid him, but he would normally be where I'd be looking at. I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and snag Devontae Parker here. Not crazy. I'm not crazy about him, but I think that he's probably still the Dolphins wide receiver one down there.
No, that's the most excited anyone's ever been about drafting Devontae Parker. So I completely agree that at this point of the draft, he can be the one for that team. I like that completely. Bateman going right before me, I like that pick a lot. But now is the time where Tyler Higbee's looking at me, and I said I would regret passing on tight end, and this is ugly. No, I'm not taking Tyler Higbee. I refuse to do that. I'm looking at Marvin Jones, who I really like I think he's going to easily be the one for Jacksonville this year with, Shenault getting his and DJ Chark just slipping a little bit. But I'm not in love with any name I see right now. I do like Marvin Jones. So I'm probably just going to take Marvin Jones and just continue to bat tight end down the line. If you don't get one of the top 3, for me, I'm pretty much waiting. And Tyler Higbee right after that.
I hate to see that. That's a rough one. I mean, the hope there is that he makes it back to you because I think, Fitzy doesn't have a tight end. So I thought everyone had a tight end before.
Higbee? With 2 CPU teams, I can't trust anyone. Obviously, you need to get your second tight end behind T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
You got to spend that 11th round pick on a tight end. But after Tyler Higbee, Jamal Williams, Trey Lance. Interesting.
Trey Lance stand up.
Okay, I don't hate it at all. We're at the point of the draft where I'm looking for upside.
I know. Romo's watching, so I will say that's his first misstep because when you take a quarterback that early, you're betting on him being the guy. You want to pair Trey Lance with your You want to take your second quarterback after him. That's maximizing the upside, whoever that may be. I mean, he could have come back around and maybe gotten let's see, Baker Mayfield,
Matt Ryan,
Kirk Cousins.
Matt Ryan's off the board.
Even a Tua. That's two young upside guys. Like Tua could surprise us this year. I kind of teeter back and forth on him on whether I'm a believer or not, but pairing him and the day one starter for sure, and with Lance, who I think we'll see by week 4, I think is a good strategy, but not with Murray. Can't.
Yeah, you do have Kyler Murray, which is an every week play. You're probably not taking him out of the lineup, regardless of Trey Lance. But go on, you're on the clock.
On the clock again. Let's take a look here. All right, so again, I'm going to trigger a lot of people with this pick. Just going for upside. He's got a different route tree in camp this year. I do think this is one of those camp reports in Mecole Hardman where it seems that he's not just running wind sprints down the field. He's got a little bit more diversified tree. And I mean, it's a bet I want to make as someone who's going to sit on my bench. And if he's the number 2 and he's Tyreek Hill 1B, I'm really liking that pick. But I do also need to take a running back here. So I'm just going to take a look at the line and see who's going to benefit the most from chaos. And to me, it's Latavius Murray. Again, if God forbid, if anything happens to your lovely first-round running back, Alvin Kamara, I'm sorry, but I'm going to benefit from it. So
no. That's who I was planning on taking when it finally came back to me. He was one of the 2 guys that I had kind of stashed there.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. In my mind, you're exactly right, though. In my mind, there's a couple of guys that I try if I'm going to play 0 RB or if I'm looking for handcuffs or backup guys that I'm looking to steal touches from. Latavius Murray, Alexander Madison, Tony Pollard are the 3 guys at the top of my list because you know that their main guys always miss a couple of games a year, so you know that they're going to get volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you can't take for granted those few weeks where you do have an RB1 or RB2, and then also on top of that, for those few weeks, you have your flex filled with Julio Jones, Jamar Chase, Mecole Hardman's a bit of a stretch. I'm not going to lie, but I have the luxury of taking that upside shot because I have such a solid wide receiver core. And ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute 0 RB work of art. Work of art.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess Mecole as your wide receiver. What is it now? 5, 6, 6. I can stomach it, but it is tough for me to look at Mecole Hardman on any roster. But after Latavius Murray, Hunter Henry off the board, J.D. McKissick, who's a sneaky pick this late, and I'm sure another 0 RB target. Adam Troutman after that, which hurts me tremendously. Terrace Marshall, Jonnu Smith, and Baker Mayfield. So I'm looking here at Nelson Aguilar. I'm not looking at quarterback. Philip Lindsay, T.Y. Hilton, Alexander Madison, Cole Beasley. Really not a very impressive group, not by any stretch. And we are looking at it is crazy seeing Deshaun Watson's name down here in the 12th round. But I'm still not going to take him either. Looking at tight end, which I know people are telling me that I would pick Evan Ingram, Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, Cole Kmet, and again, I still don't see a separator there. I really don't. So I think I'm going to take Nelson Aguilar, who I project to be the number one in that offense, and whether that equates to value, who knows? But they paid him to be, and I mean, we're at the point of the draft where if I can get on the depth chart the number one receiver on the team, that's a pretty good value to me.
Yeah, I would say that I don't think that I do think that there's a tier drop off after him. I don't think it's a big one. The gap between the Nelson Aguilar tier and the T.Y.
Hilton, yeah,
it's not a huge gap, but I mean, it's still I think a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, I with the gap I was referring to was more at tight end, where I don't see much between Evan Ingram and Jared Cook and Austin Hooper and Cole Kmet to me. But at wide receiver, if I can get the number one in the 12th round, even for the Patriots, let's say Mac Jones takes over, even if Cam can't do it, maybe Mac Jones can. Mac Jones will throw the ball; he won't run.
Betting on the Patriots after a down year is, I think, a good idea. I want to take a look at. Sorry, what was that? Go ahead.
Oh, no, go for it.
I do, while we are on auto draft here, I want to take a look at Shino Prater here. Devontae Adams and then coming back with Joe Mixon. I like that because you're getting an elite wide receiver and then upside with like that running back, that RB1 overall upside. I mean, he's got the situation. The line's a little bit iffy. Coming back with Josh Allen, locking in an elite quarterback, Chris Carson, and then Mark Andrews. Like, I really do like that he has an elite quarterback and an elite tight end. And then he just hammers wide receiver. I think he did a really good value-based draft. But what do we got here, Doug?
We got Justin Fields staring me in the face, but I am not going to pull the trigger there as much as I want to, and believe me, I really want to. At this point here, I think I'm going to go Rondale Moore. Might not get the volume early in the season, but I think that you'll see him pick up more as the season goes along. And of course, the auto drafter immediately takes Justin Fields right behind me, and then Phillip Lindsay there. So that puts me back on the clock. And as I scroll down again, a whole bunch of nothing here staring me back in the face. I'm pretty young, to be quite honest. This team's pretty young, but I'm going to go ahead and throw another dice roll here on another young guy, and I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just because somebody has to catch passes in Detroit, and by reports, he's been looking pretty smooth. Probably their best route runner up there, and that's always a good thing to make sure that you're going to get targets there.
All right, and after that, we have Jalen Reagor and Evan Ingram off the board, taking that tight end. I'm going to quickly interject because I have the Steelers-Cowboys game going on. I think I might have just saw Deontay Johnson get up a little bit gingerly after almost dropping a screen pass and then running 10 yards.
Get him out of the game.
Yeah, I don't really know why I don't know why he's there in the first week of a 4-week preseason game and on the second drive of the game. But I don't know why Najee's out there either. But
what's the pick?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Sorry, no, I'm not gonna be upset with my Steelers right now. I'm looking at absolutely no one that interests me in front of me, but for now, I know I only have 2 more positional picks left. I'm going to take my tight end. I'm going to take Jared Cook. And if Mike Williams isn't catching touchdowns, then Jared Cook will. And if I'm wrong, if Jared Cook doesn't catch a couple touchdowns in the first couple weeks, then I am going to I'll drop him. I'll drop him and I'll stream off the wire. All these teams that are taking 2 tight ends, that's not going to last. That'll be cut for waiver wire pickups, and I'll take the value there.
Yeah, let me also I didn't quite get to it before Doug's pick, but taking Josh Allen in the 3rd and also taking Trevor Lawrence, again, you're betting against yourself. Like I said, that's a bet, that's a pick that's going to put you more towards the middle of the pack at the end of the year than towards the top. He could have instead taken a shot on Michael Pittman, taken a shot on some upside at the wide receiver position. Maybe Rashad Bateman, I think would have made a lot of sense there instead of Lawrence. Devontae Parker, Corey Davis, bona fide wide receiver ones on their team. Again, I'd rather have either of them over my second quarterback because, again, it's likelier that those guys are going to be giving you points more weeks than Trevor Lawrence will if Josh Allen hits like you need him to in the 3rd round. Yeah.
And I'll quickly interject by saying that Deontay Johnson's still on the field, so I'm assuming he's fine.
And we're back, dude. Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we're back. It'll be. It's not a benefit having an extra preseason game, man. But you're on the clock. Go for it.
All right. So, the auto draft that Team 11 giveth, and the auto draft that Team 11 taketh away. That's the first time it's sniped me. I'd say Alexander Madison would have been a great 0 RB pick there. Again, benefiting from chaos. I'm going to keep saying it. So sitting right here, I do have a tough decision to make. And again, I will not take a quarterback or a tight end again because I feel that these two are – I invested enough draft capital early in them that where I'm putting a lot of draft capital in there, so I don't want to double up on that. So I'm looking at wide receiver or running back here. And a guy who is really, really a wild card. And again, at my wide receiver, 7, I'm going to take that bet on Paris Campbell. We got 2 layers of uncertainty / risk, depending on how you define it. One of them being the quarterback situation, which I think that by the end of the year, when I might need him, will be better. Also, the injury situation, if he makes it, if he's still on my team by the end of the year, it means it's healthy, and that's more than you can say for a lot of picks in the 13th round. So let's take a look at running back. I'm going to reach here because I don't think he'll make it back to me. I'm going to take Rashad Penny. And again, Rashad Penny is a lot of reports out of camp, former first-round NFL draft pick. I want to bet on those guys coming back from injury. I think we penalize players too much for injury. That's my last running back I think I'm going to be able to draft because I have to take a kicker in defense. They're going to force me. But yeah, what do you guys think about Rashad Penny? A lot of good things coming out of camp about him.
No, yeah, and I'm sure Pete Carroll is very good at 3 things. He's very good at coaching defense. He's very good at chewing gum, and he's very good at talking up his players. Pete Carroll. So Rashad Penny is. Yeah, I liked him before the injuries. There's just too many knee injuries for me to expect anything at this point. But it's a 14th round pick. It's your last positional pick. I don't mind it by any stretch. But Kenny Gamble going off the board after that. Blake Jarwin after that is the second tight end for him to backing up Travis Kelce. But here's where I don't mind that. Where obviously you're not taking Travis Kelce out of your lineup, but we're at the point of the draft where the players are so slim. If Blake Jarwin hits, I'm talking myself out of it. I'm actually not sure where Blake Jarwin fits in. But what do you guys think about taking any tight end behind a Travis Kelce?
So Blake Jarwin, he is the more explosive guy. He's the guy that was slated to be the tight end, clear tight end 1 in that offense. Reports out of camp so far is that Dalton Schultz played well last year while he was injured, and it seems that that second tight end position is going to be in play. So I think Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin will kind of split reps and split the tight end targets, which not great, but again,
yeah.
With your 14th round pick, that's fine.
You're taking a shot on an athlete, which I don't mind. But after that, Anthony Ferkser, Javian Hawkins, an interesting pick right there. Deshaun Watson, Christian Kirk, and I'm on the clock with my last positional pick. And with your last pick, just like we kind of hinted at, you shoot for upside. I think you guys might know who I'm going to pick, but I'm taking a guy who can be the number 1 for his team, who was drafted to be the type of number 1 for his team, who I think has the talent to be. And that's Bryan Edwards, who's getting compared to Terrell Owens. And it's
Randy
really
Moss.
Annoying me because he's not. And Randy Moss, he's not that, but he's a very physical receiver who's pretty good after the catch for a guy of his size. And if he's great week 1, great. If not, then I move on.
And real quick, Real Shino Prater taking Deshaun Watson. Perhaps he heard me with the QB slander. Again, your 14th round pick, who cares? But again, he's not the team that needs to be taking that upside shot. Someone who took a quarterback real late. Yeah, you could do that. Other wagons could do that.
Maybe Matt
Doug, you could have done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't 3 quarterbacks is preposterous in a 12-team league. I think he might be trolling.
All right. So for me here, I got 15 seconds left on the clock. Going off of Nick's advantage chaos, I'm going to go ahead and take Chuba Hubbard right here. He's got some upside there. Now we're into the kicker and defense type area. Depending upon who I want to look at here, let me see. Bring up all of the defenses. See who is out there. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on. Here is. I put in my AFC South article today. I do not see them because I probably cannot spell. I'm looking for. There it is. I'm looking for the Titans defense just because of how weak the rest of that division is. I think that Titans defense will be a good selection this year. If you're required to take that, I would do that. Otherwise, I'd be definitely willing to stream them. They'd be my number one target on the wire.
Yeah, so now after that, we got a couple more defenses off the board. The Steelers and the Bucks, two really good units. And normally I would have Sleeper doesn't have the schedule update, or does it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the schedule updated on when I click it, but normally I would just stream off of week 1 matchup and figure out after that. But without having that in front of me and very little time to do it, I'm going to take a talented unit, and I'm going to take the Nick Bosa-led 49ers.
It's a good pick there. Predicting defense is really tough, so you kind of do want to think about it that way. You want to think about easy schedules, so that's the Titans is a bet on playing 6 teams that might not be very good. And then also you want to bet on good pass rushers because sacks are bankable points that are a little bit more predictable.
Yep, and I also just want to throw in that I chose the right unit because the 49ers play the Lions week 1, so I feel pretty good about taking the 49ers there.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just going to explain real quick. Go ahead, Doug.
No. Go ahead. Yours is much more interesting than mine.
So it is going to let me not draft a kicker in defense. If you're in a league format that lets you do that, and perhaps maybe talk about it before with your league mates, because you don't want to really be that guy that surprises people with that. But one thing you could do is I could take James White here and just give me another back that's going to give me a lot of usable 8, 9, 10-point weeks, which will be important for me in the early season. So I could take him there and then just come around and take a kicker or defense. I'm not going to do that here just because we didn't talk about that, but you could do that here, and James White would be a really great pick on a 0 RB team. But I'm going to take a look at defense here, and let's take a look at the schedule for Denver. I'm going to bank on Vic Fangio, and his name escapes me. Tore his ACL last year.
Von Miller?
Von Miller, yeah. Von Miller bouncing back.
Or Bradley Chubb even.
Yeah,
one of
they
them.
got a good defensive line. They're going to rely on defense. They got some playmakers. They drafted a cornerback in the first round. And then the GOAT himself, Harrison Butker.
Oh, yeah. And I was going to actually bring it up when it came around to me for a kicker. I don't mind taking a defense in my drafts even earlier because, you know, the 49ers against the Lions is a competitive advantage over other defenses, in my opinion. Kickers,
yeah, that's big.
And
that's big.
I know Linda would be upset with me, but kickers are far too unpredictable for me to deal with. Kickers, you can attach them to an offense, but I fully support what Nick was just saying, where I'll pass on kickers. I don't draft my kickers. I pick them up on Saturday before week 1. And, you know, if we talked about beforehand, I would have just avoided taking my kicker, and I would take a guy who would show me early on. Like maybe I would take a guy who would have to show me in the preseason, where maybe I take Sterling Shepard and I watch how Galladay's injury progresses, or Darius Slayton with that same mindset. But without talking about that, I'll just take Jason Sanders or Will Lutz. I'll take Jason Sanders. He gets 14 weeks until a bye week. I could just lock him in the lineup until then. So that is my draft right there.
Good way to think about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And who's the big kicker pick for Doug? Can't be a Bears kicker.
Where is the Bears kicker?
I don't think there is one. I don't think they employ one. I think they just throw some fan out there and they hope for the best.
There he is. Cairo Santos, all the way at the bottom, down there. You know what? I was actually going to take Mason Crosby, but you talked me into it. I'm taking Cairo Santos.
I think that shows us exactly. Yeah. Right. Last couple of years, I took Joey Sly 2 years ago. He turned out to be great. I took Rodrigo Blankenship last year, who was a top 5 kicker. So nope. It's very hard to predict, but I'll quickly run through my team. You guys can run through yours. I have Tom Brady at quarterback. I have Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Edmonds, Naeem Hines at running back, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Robbie Anderson, Mike Williams, Marvin Jones, Nelson Aguilar, and Brian Edwards at receiver. And tight end, I'm rolling out Jared Cook, streaming that along the way. How about you guys?
Yeah, take it away, Doug.
All right, so I've got Aaron Rodgers there at quarterback, Dalvin Cook and Travis Etienne as my runners, Justin Jefferson, Allen Robinson, and Cortland Sutton playing wideout. Kyle Pitts is at the tight end. We've got Mike Davis in the flex spot. I would probably actually flex him out for somebody else at this point. And then Santos and Titans are the kicker and defense. And then on the bench, Robert Tonyan, Darnell Mooney, Devontae Parker, Rondale Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Chuba Hubbard riding the pine.
Yeah, so my team, again, this is a 0 RB team. I got Dak Prescott. I'm kind of anchoring in on him. I need him to be QB1 overall. I need to get a significant edge. It's over at least half the league with him for this to work. I'm going to skip over running back. Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Julio Jones. I'm going to be cycling through that flex between Jamar Chase and then whatever one of these Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell, if either of them break out and become a thing, they could make it into my flex every now and again. But my lineup should get better as the season goes on. James White's sitting on the waiver wire. I can pick him up if I need to, if I have an injury between now and the season starting. I got Michael Carter and James Conner, kind of like a yin and yang there, pass catching back and a goal line back. And then on my bench, I have A.J. Dillon, Latavius Murray, and Rashad Penny, all guys who will get work week to week, and then just massive upside if their counterpart goes down. They're in those two-man backfields that we want to target. Noah Fant is probably the one where, given the choice to see if I could trade Dak Prescott for a more elite tight end, I would have rather have done that. But Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson are the two I was kind of targeting, and they went before me in round 5. So it seems like if I wanted that elite tight end, I needed to take him at the 4 or 5 turn, which that's just a little too early for me on Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. But Noah Fant could break out. Not super confident in that, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, no, and this was a ton of fun. No, ran a little bit long today, but I want to quickly thank everyone that joined the draft. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This was a blast. I want to quickly throw out as well that Chase Claypool dropped a wide open third down, would have been first down completion because he was scared of the safety hitting him. So Steelers are acting like, yeah, no, the Steelers are in midseason form right now, and it's just great. But very fun episode today, guys. I'll let everyone enjoy the rest of this preseason game, which is not going to be enjoyable for me because I'll just get upset at some backups. But we'll make sure to put a little Twitter poll up where you guys can vote for which one of us you think had the best draft. Obviously, I'm sure I'll win that with flying colors. But we'll see how that goes.
I will not. I know. I can guarantee you one thing. I will not win that poll.
Have some faith in yourself. But thank you for anyone that stuck to this point. I'm very glad. This was a very fun time. Michael Sicoli, this was Short Yardage. How do you guys want to sign yourselves off?
Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
I'm Doug Green, and I will see you guys next time.
This is Nick. You can follow me at Twitter. I got my first message about an article in the DMs. So that was a big moment. It was because the link was broken, but that's okay. At least they cared enough to see it. You can follow me at run_the_sims. This was a lot of fun, everybody. Make sure you hit the merch store at forfantasysakeqc.com. Sending off. Nailed it. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Yeah.